Hi, and thanks for coming and listening to this lightning talk. I'm Alexander Cobleigh, and you might see me as CBLGH, the very convenient nickname on the internet. I'm one of the main developers of Cabal. So before I deep dive into how Cabal actually works, I just want to introduce what Cabal is, and then I want to give some of the whys, the origin behind Cabal, how it started. Then we go into the architecture, show some clients, and some future thoughts and an informal roadmap of sorts. So Cabal. Cabal is a local-first peer-to-peer community platform and currently used as an engine of distributed chat clients. This basically means it's like IRC with backlog or free offline Slack. So Cabal works without servers. Anyone can start a chat room or a Cabal, and any number of Cabals thanks to a practically infinite namespace. Nobody needs to know anything about servers to join or create a Cabal, because, there are no servers. And you can actually use servers, though, as the convenient, always online peers, because that helps people who are behind really shitty firewalls, which is pretty convenient. It works great offline, because it's not a special case. It's just like a normal use case, as with everything local first. I've used Cabal it would be perfect here when the internet's kind of so-so. You can just read your chat logs and write. And I've used it in cafes where I don't know the Wi-Fi password. And it works like this because you have the entire chat history on your computer, and the data structures inside Cabal allow us to just write at will. So if you're writing stuff offline, you'll sync up with people whenever you come across them. This can happen over the internet or over just a Wi-Fi like this. So to summarize, people joining Cabal for the first time will receive all the history of the Cabal when they connect with anyone else who's in there. It's like we say in Sweden, sharing is caring. And Cabal exists today. It's under active development, and at times things break, but people can use Cabal to chat directly and without any kind of intermediaries. And I think that's kind of neat, actually. So some of the backstory of Cabal is, I think it was early 2018. There was lots of cool things about the peer-to-peer web. I was here in Berlin for the first peer-to-peer web, and I thought everything was super cool and exciting, but we were all talking about it on Twitter. And that felt kind of ridiculous because we're using this centralized, not ideal service to talk about the possible futures of the web. So that was one part of the puzzle. At the same time, I was also hanging out in a really big community Slack, hundreds of people. And it felt kind of fragile because, this entire community and all of their connections hinge on basically the terms of service not changing, which, could happen. And similarly, around this time, Carissa and Substack were working on a really cool project called ChatMesh, which was fundamentally Cabal, but without channels. And on top of that, Jim Pick was just releasing a proof of concept for that called that shopping list. And it showed off a multi-writer capability of HyperDB. And basically it was this to-do list where people could add and remove things from a list and in the web. And I was this is so cool. So things started to become a blur there. I wrote up my thoughts on GitHub around April 2018 and started prototyping. Things were working, and I was kind of wondering what to do next when Carissa proposed that ChatMesh and Cabal should just combine our efforts. And we did, and we started the Cabal Club. Around this time, Novel was also working on something called Kappa Chat and joined the Cabal Club. Nikolai Warner, a friend, also joined and became a core contributor. And we were getting really nice drive-by pull requests from super cool people. And right now we have a stable core of developers, which drop in and drop out depending on work and just life. We have Tony Ivanov, or Telamon, who's been just this came from nowhere and started making these really cool technical pull requests to sick ass modules that Novel's made. We have Nikolai who's been making new clients. We have Novel who's been fixing really hard replication bugs, and we have me that's been kind of dabbling in everything. And Carissa pushed some really cool patches to the desktop client recently. So let's go on to the guts of Cabal. Like most things peer-to-peer right now, we base our identity system on ED 255.19 keys. We have peers, logs, messages, views, and a connectivity component. But let's start with peers. The peer is the agent who's doing the writing and posting of messages. And each peer is represented by a key pair, the public key and the private key. The peer writes messages to a log using the private key, and only that peer can write messages to their log. And an important point to note is that this is an append-only log. We never delete from it, we never insert things at earlier points in history. And the reason is that append-only logs have really nice properties for distributed systems. But going deep on these is kind of out of scope for this talk. And this append-only log is eventually shared with other peers. So to share logs between peers, they connect over a kind of rendezvous. And what that is in Cabal's case is a Cabal key. And a Cabal key is basically just a string representation of a ED 255.19 public key. But it's only like the public key. We throw away a private key because it's just used to generate the name. So now we have tons of logs, one from each peer. These logs are then combined into a cohesive view, like individual ingredients used to bake a single cake. The view is created by taking individual messages and interleaving them, depending on some measure of time. Currently, we just use a timestamp, but we can make it more robust soon. And importantly, each message has a message type and optionally content relating to that message type. We don't define any message types. Anyone can come in, write a client that has completely new message types and discards existing ones. But currently we have some that are agreed upon by clients because they're just very convenient. So as Dominic alluded to yesterday, this is known as cap architecture. It's where you have a log that you only ever append to, and you create a view of the current state. And it's becoming popular as an alternative to the kinds of databases that have been used so far. There are some really good resources on the net to kind of help understand the nitty-gritty of them, including a really good lecture by Martin Kleppmann and a Node.js Kappa workshop by Nuffle. So yeah, this is basically like Cabal. We have the clients that all use the Cabal core, and these are the individual modules that Cabal core uses. Discovery Swarm and Hypercore and Hypercore Protocol are directly from the DApp project. So this basically enables the mesh-like structure that enables peers to find each other. And then we have these, which basically allow us to create this single shared view, the cake. And multi-feed allows us to exchange multiple hypercores between different kinds of peers, which enables a pragmatic version of multi-writer today and that. So yeah, to summarize, we have a chat view, and this view is composed of messages. Each message has a message type and comes from a single log that belongs to a peer, and the log is append only. And they connect to each other over a Cabal key. So yeah, we have actually quite a few clients. And the reason being is that it's completely decoupled. So writing a client will work, writing a new client will work with the existing database you have. So you don't need to repopulate or care about any of that part. Cabal core basically solves all that. So we have the first client, it's a terminal client, a desktop client, which is super nice and made by Symbolo, or designed by Symbolo, and it's made by lots of contributors. Cabal Mini, which is an experimental client that Nikolai made, and we recently added hypermedia to it, so you can drag and drop messages which contain media, so like a GIF. And Cabal Mobile that actually Andre Stelz pushed out super fast in a weekend. It was so sick. But we actually need someone to help us patch it, so hit us up, Andre. And MessageLand that Johan made, which is a web client that works on Glitch in any web browser. It uses WebSockets. So I'm kind of short on time. Here's some cool projects. And in the pipeline, we're working on at-rest encryption, so blind peers, to enable people to help you host a Cabal, help people connect to each other even if nobody's online, but without being able to read the contents of the Cabal. A client library to make it even easier to write clients. And moderation, because I'm also working on a thesis of moderation in decentralized chat systems. DNS short names I actually hacked together this week, so we're going to have that out soon. And private channels to allow people to have subsets in a Cabal that are completely private to the participants inside it. And we've all done this without any kind of funding, but it'd be pretty sick if we could have some kind of funding, because, imagine what we could do. So if you had any leads on non-VC funding, whether direct funding or just help writing grants, please talk to me. Yeah, so it's kind of an incomplete list here, but we have some more people here. So we have Luandro, D for Torcini, Fenwick 67, Lachenmeyer, and Saran Wrap JS, and some other people over here. Stephen Matson and Bror Tao is completely outside. I just want to thank everyone, because these are people who came in, thought the project was cool, made some amazing pull requests. Some disappeared, some stayed on, and it's this is the Cabal Club, so I'm just super grateful and want to take the time and thank them. And that's everything I have, so thanks.